赞成者多数，全案表决通过。
Taiwan is set to spend nearly $8 billion on drones after lawmakers back an opposition-led plan. Hundreds of people are dead or missing after a massive flash flood near the Nepal-Tibet border. China urges its citizens to leave Eswatini, Taiwan's only diplomatic ally in Africa, over security concerns. Plus,
they are of course lively. They love to enjoy their life.
Taiwan is celebrating Ghost Month, and Keelung is welcoming the spirits at the city's annual Ghost Festival. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Leslie Liao. Lawmakers have adopted the opposition's plan for drone spending.
赞成60位委员，反对50位委员，赞成者多数，全案表决通过。
Under the bill, Taiwan will allocate $7.6 billion over 6 years to develop its drone capabilities, with the legislature reviewing and overseeing the budget annually. The Economy Ministry will monitor the project. The ruling Democratic Progressive Party had proposed a $6.6 billion special budget that would have been allocated upfront and spent over several years. Its version would have put the Defense Ministry in charge of the program. Taiwan's Coast Guard is raising concerns over record-breaking numbers of Chinese vessels operating around the country. Official data shared with AFP shows Taiwan counted 244 incursions by Chinese boats in July, more than 5 times the number for May. Taiwan's Coast Guard calls this gray zone harassment, hostile activities that do not rise to the level of open conflict. China has been sending vessels into restricted waters, while its Navy has also been carrying out patrols. China is urging its citizens to leave Taiwan's only diplomatic ally in Africa, Eswatini, citing security risks. The Chinese Foreign Ministry says Eswatini has problems with cyber fraud and crime linked to gambling and told its citizens to relocate to other countries. Eswatini is one of Taiwan's 12 remaining diplomatic allies. China has been trying to get the African kingdom to switch recognition from Taipei to Beijing. To find out more about what's behind China's order for its citizens to leave Eswatini, earlier I spoke with Yen Chen-shen, a political science professor at National Zhongshan University. So China told its citizens to leave Eswatini, saying that there's a lot of cybercrime and fraud related to gambling in the country. What do you make of that?
China actually had more more trade relation with Eswatini. So there are a lot of Chinese in Eswatini. And those people who venture to Africa, a lot of them are less restricted by the domestic law in China. So they might be involved in gambling and other stuff. I think what China is telling its citizens, saying, hey, if this happens, if you are indicted in South Africa, we might be able to help you because we do have diplomatic relations, but at Eswatini, sorry, we cannot help.
Now, do you think that there are any diplomatic intentions behind this move regarding Eswatini's status as Taiwan's last remaining diplomatic ally in Africa?
I don't think this is, for any kind of diplomatic gain because they could. I mean, this is not going to help them at all, right? The best thing happened to them will be they do have people got indicted involving illegal activities in Eswatini, and then they have to go to Mbabanet, to the capital of Eswatini, to negotiate for their release or something. But right now, when you warn about this, means you have no channel of communication with the Eswatini authority. And that's why you advise them to leave the country because you are incapable of helping or assisting them to leave.
Now, Taiwan is also in Palau, one of its other diplomatic allies for the Pacific Islands Forum Summit. Now, Palau has also been a target of Chinese pressure because it has diplomatic relations with Taipei. Is this part of a bigger trend that we're seeing where China is trying to suppress Taipei internationally?
10 years ago, finally, the United States woke up to China's aggressive diplomatic poaching of Taiwan's diplomatic ally. So that helped Taiwan by telling the diplomatic ally of Taiwan, saying if you switch relation, there will be consequences. It didn't stop some countries, but for countries with strong diplomatic relation with the U.S., like Palau, like other Central American or Caribbean countries, that might help.
That was National Zhengzhi University political science professor Yen Chen-shen. Foreign Minister Lin Chia-lung has arrived in Palau, one of Taiwan's diplomatic allies, for the Pacific Islands Forum. His Palauan counterpart Gustavo Aitaro greeted him at the airport. Taiwanese business representatives also joined the delegation. Beginning Sunday, the group will hold talks with forum member states on the sidelines of the event. Ling will also meet with Palauan President Surangel Jr. This marks Taiwan's return to the summit after it was excluded from last year's forum in the Solomon Islands when organizers barred all non-member states amid reported pressure from Beijing to keep Taiwan out. A landslide on Nepal's border with Tibet has left an unknown number of people dead, as more than 800 people are still missing. Help is coming for survivors, but the destruction has been devastating in places. John Van Trieste reports.
Rescue workers escort a survivor to safety, one more person accounted for. Over 150 people are confirmed dead so far. Among the missing are nearly 500 tourists, many of them foreign. The area is home to a Hindu pilgrimage site popular at this time of year. In at least some places, it seems there was a short period of warning, but not enough for everyone, as the wall of rock and mud swept down.
Before the flood hit this area, the Nepal police and myself had alerted the locals about it. Many locals could not take out their belongings, while a few managed to do so. While we were doing that, the flood came abruptly and we were able to run away. But besides the elderly home, 4 to 5 people are dead, according to the information we have received.
Amid the muddied remains of Nuwakot district, stunned survivors are left to process what they've witnessed.
I saw around 9 trucks being swept away by the floods, including people. It's a heartbreaking incident. I've been teaching here for 18 years and I've never seen anything like this here before.
Help is on the way. Nepal's armed police force and rescuers are still racing to help survivors. On the Chinese side of the border, where at least 3 people have died and nearly 300 are missing, state TV says President Xi Jinping has called for all-out rescue efforts. And aid from the United Nations, among others, is already on the ground.
2 staff from the World Health Organization are already on site with enough medical kits for about 10,000 people for 3 months, as well as tents and logistics support. Starting tomorrow, the World Food Program and UNICEF are also deploying staff and trucks carrying relief supplies.
Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council, which handles China policy, has also extended condolences to Beijing over the disaster. Records show 51 Taiwanese nationals currently in Tibet, where a hotline is open for citizens to report themselves safe. But across the border in Nepal, whole communities now have to find some way to recover from destruction that, in places, is nearly total.
When it happened, this whole area was filled with water, and a weak-hearted person would not have been able to look at it. In the morning, we could not stand here. We were only allowed to look from about 20 meters away, as the police had not allowed us to come here. If you look down, it was all filled with coffee farms. It's all gone.
And as families wait for news of missing loved ones, for some, there may be a reckoning with loss to come. John Su and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
NVIDIA is predicting a 70% jump in revenue in the next fiscal year, riding high on soaring demand for AI computing. The chipmaker's forecast, announced during Wednesday's earnings call, far exceeds Wall Street's average estimate of 44% growth. But NVIDIA says shortages of memory components and rising memory costs could squeeze its expansion. The company's second quarter revenue more than doubled from a year earlier, driven by demand for its data center products. It's also the first time NVIDIA has issued a revenue forecast a full year in advance, a move that could help ease investor concerns of an AI bubble. The AI boom is sending memory chip prices skyrocketing, prompting Morgan Stanley analysts to coin a new term, chipflation. To assess the forces driving chipflation and its geopolitical implications, reporter Lily Lamatina spoke to Chris Miller, author of Chip War.
We're hearing the term chipflation. The shortage in memory chips is pushing up prices for electronic devices, such as phones and computers. Chris, what's driving this trend, and is it temporary or long-term?
The key driver of higher memory prices is, of course, the boom in development of AI data centers over the past couple of years, and the expectation that that's going to continue very rapidly growing for the next couple of years. And there's just a supply-demand mismatch in the memory chip market that's resulted with memory companies being constrained in their ability to bring online new supply for at least the next 18 months or 24 months or so. But then at some point, memory firms will bring online more capacity, and when they do, prices will certainly begin to come down.
AI has turned memory from a relatively commoditized component into a strategic resource. How is this changing the geopolitics of semiconductors as Chinese players enter the market?
Thus far, we've seen memory be primarily a sphere dominated by non-Chinese players, by Korea first and foremost, but also US, Japan, and Taiwan. And I think it's strategically important that that doesn't change too much. And it's particularly interesting right now because of the emergence of new Chinese players, companies like YMTC and NAND memory, CXMT in DRAM memory. And these firms, because they're benefiting from such extensive state support, are unlikely to be solely focused on market dynamics, on the cycle. They're also likely to have the ability to invest extensively during downturns in the industry. And so one of the fears that you hear from the existing memory players is that as Chinese firms enter the market, they're going to be able to invest even when it's not economic to do so, therefore win market share, and therefore push down prices, not just at the top of the cycle, but also keep them structurally lower.
Apple is reportedly seeking to buy chips from China. The Trump administration initially pushed back, but may now allow it ahead of President Xi's visit to the US. In your view, is this a solution to the supply problem?
It's in some ways, I think, understandable that companies are turning to any option they can to source the chips that they need, including Chinese producers, but there's real long-run risks here. We've seen in certain types of low-end chips, like those that go in automobiles, that China's been able to use this as a tool to threaten manufacturing output more broadly across the Western world. We should be very hesitant about any sort of policies that make Western supply chains more dependent on Chinese semiconductors. Memory thus far has not been dependent, but of course, CXMT and YMTC are investing very heavily. Their market share is still small, but it's grown at a very rapid pace. And if this continues, there are risks, not next year or the year after, but into the 2030s, that China becomes a much more significant player in the memory industry. And if so, that is inevitably going to have not just commercial, but also, I think, broader geopolitical ramifications.
That was Chris Miller, author of Chip War. It's Ghost Month in Taiwan, when supernatural stories and folk beliefs are at the forefront of spiritual practices. Many of the country's best-known tales feature female ghosts, often reflecting the social constraints that women faced in the past. Ting Ye has the story.
台湾的鬼都是穿白色衣服的，而且要穿长长。然后一般都是男生还是女生？女生。为什么是女生？头发都很乱。对。我们这次讲的3个鬼故事里头，就有2个都是女生。女生都很精彩哦，非常高兴，有没有？
It's Ghost Month in Taiwan, when tales of the spirit world are in the spotlight. Female ghosts feature prominently among Taiwan's best-known ghost stories, including Chen Shounyang, whose lore is rooted in the southern city of Tainan. This year, the city is revisiting her story with a walking tour linked to her legend.
台湾通史里面，他有提到说，在台南有这个闹鬼的事情， 所以我们就常讲说，这是一个有记载在历史上面的一个故事。那另外最重要的一个证据，其实就是在孔庙的结孝祠里面陈守娘的牌位。
Accounts of Chen Shounyang's life vary, but most versions begin with the death of her husband.
陈守娘她的先生灵寿已经往生了，她已经发誓，甚至在心里面已经有一个定见，终身非灵寿不嫁。结果这一位在台湾府当文书的一位师爷，他竟然看上陈守娘。
伯伯和小姑子说你会再嫁不可了，但我偏偏就不是不嫁了，我要守寡了。结果当人家打给他，那我满身都流水还是。
In those days, women themselves had limited economic independence. However, a widow's remarriage could bring financial benefits to her deceased husband's family. Chen Shounyang refused to remarry, a decision that, according to legend, ultimately led to her death. She is said to have returned as a vengeful ghost, taking revenge on those who pressured her to remarry and demanding a memorial tablet of her own. But why was widowhood so important?
没有什么地方好讲啊，就是一金剑。
In Qing-era Taiwan, widows who remained chaste could receive official recognition, including a place in the shrine dedicated to chaste and filial women.
女性的好命与否要看你婚嫁过去的夫家的情况。到了夫家之后呢，你还要拼的是你往生时候的那个位置。你要成为有后代祭祀的祖先，你要有条件，就是你要出丁，你要生儿子。
Ethnic Han Chinese migration brought patrilineal kinship systems and ancestral worship to Taiwan. These traditions shaped not only a woman's place in the family, but also some of the island's ghost lore.
那这些都跟女性成鬼之后的一个危害有关系，它反而形成了一个很有意思的一个议题，就是说，这世界人死后都会成鬼，那没有后代祭祀的就是孤魂野鬼。
In folktales, some of these women after death gained something they had little of in life: power.
所以平权这件事情在古代是没有的。那如果在法律没有办法规范的情况之下，只能够有一种东西，就是用一个心灵上面的寄托。所以透过这样子的故事，我们会发现，其实在台湾有很多的故事都是讲究女性她得到冤屈，到后来不行，化为厉鬼。
Today, Chen Shounyang's legend had found new life in the historical fantasy comic, Guardian. Rather than retelling a simple story of suffering and revenge, it focuses on women who are still alive.
我每次看恐怖电影，我都这样觉得，就是如果死掉那么厉害的话，为什么要活着？
Guardian has since been licensed in 11 languages, making it one of Taiwan's most widely translated original comics.
我唯一希望他们了解，就是我不希望守娘的原文用她那个时代的价值观传播出去。因为我觉得她的原文散发的是一种，她是守贞是一件好事情这件事情，其他我都认为读者他们可以自由的去解释。
Ghosts remain an integral part of Taiwan's folklore, but it is the living who tell their tales, and the stories change with the times. Yuan Duan, Andy Xie, Isabel Wang, and Ting Ye for TaiwanPlus.
The city of Keelung held its annual Ghost Festival, a tradition dating back to the 1800s. Our reporter Larry Isiano went to check it out.
People in Keelung are getting ready for one of the year's major religious events, as the city hosts Taiwan's biggest Ghost Month celebration. They prepare offerings to welcome back the souls of the departed. The annual Keelung tradition began as a way of burying the hatchet. Back in the 19th century, it was a means of resolving a feud among recently arrived settlers from China's Fujian province. Ever since 1855, the descendants of those settlers still take turns organizing the Ghost Festival and acting as the Jupu, the ones responsible for managing the whole event. They ride at the front of the parade, and later, their lantern will be the first to hit the water, and they make sure everyone knows who's who. The annual festival is a big part of locals' lives.
这个我从小就开始参加了，就是看到整个基隆街上，然后都是基隆市的市民，然后出来看热闹这样子。希望就是可以一直传承下去，然后让 基隆市的市民这样子都可以多多出来参与这样的民俗文化。
This festival is a mix of new and old. Line dances, school honor guards, and other traditional performances roll by, alongside K-pop dancers and cars decked out in anime stickers. These are not your grandparents' sound systems, or costumes, or dance moves.
We're right in the middle of the parade, and it seems like all of Keelung is here for the festival, showing just how important this is to the city's civic life. But the show's main highlight has yet to start.
The parade continued downtown, complete with a fireworks display. The special Ghost Festival celebrations attracted some foreign tourists to Keelung, a city not on most itineraries.
It was amazing. I'm from Switzerland, and there's like something similar. It's called Street Parade in Zurich, and so it was nice to see something similar. They are of course lively. They love to enjoy their life, and yeah, not just like I thought they would be more reserved, but I see everyone loves to life.
The highlight of the festivities took place on the coast, where handcrafted lanterns are released into the water. Each one is an ornately decorated offering, the result of countless hours of work from dozens of family members.
因为这个活动，那个给我感觉是觉得，我现在运势会比较好一点，因为我们有在帮忙这些祖先啊，我们的姓氏的那个宗祠帮忙他们这样子啊，我已经2-3年了。
The lanterns are carried down to the water's edge before being released. They are a beacon to attract wandering ghosts to come ashore, where they can partake in offerings and feast. The further the lanterns get into sea, the more prosperity the family can expect. Rough waters this year prevented them from getting too far from shore, but with every lantern set ablaze, a family cheered and onlookers clapped. Klein Wong and Larry Siano for TaiwanPlus.
In the run-up to the Asian Games, Taiwan's top judokas are fine-tuning their training before stepping onto the mat in Japan. Our reporter Sandy Chi went to meet them and see their preparations.
Refining their nawaza and scrambling on the mat, Taiwan's judokas are preparing for their shot at glory at the upcoming Aichi Nagoya Asian Games in Japan. The country is sending 10 judo athletes, 4 men and 6 women this year. The spotlight is on Yang Yongwei, as he aims to defend his title in September. At the last Asian Games in Hangzhou, China, he ascended the podium after defeating South Korea's Harim Lee in the men's 60-kilogram division. His win in 2023 secured Taiwan's 100th Asian Games gold medal. Years later, Yang says his mental approach remains the same.
就是尽量还是要把自己准备比赛的每一个环节去做好。我觉得比赛的时候，你才可以更专注的在每一场比赛上面。所以，我给我自己的目标就是，当然就是现在训练的每一个细节，就是每一个技术都可以在比赛上用出来、执行出来。
Now 28, Yang says age has changed the way he trains.
那现在比较面临一个比较大的问题，就是可能在恢复上，我可能要做得更足够，跟时间可能要拉更长。现在就是在训练的过程中，就是就是对自己的身体的状况是更敏感的，就是更知道我现在要重视一下我自己的身体的状态，然后再去看训练的课表。
Age could prove a factor for others on Yang's team. 48-kilogram contender Ling Zhenghao, also 28, says she notices it too, especially when sparring with younger athletes.
现在那个跟我一起练习的学妹差我10岁，就想说她怎么都不会累，我已经开始喘了，她怎么都还不会累这样，她一副就是我还可以再摔这样子，然后我就想说我好累哦，还不赶快把它处理掉。
Ling says she has been enjoying competition more lately, despite the grueling sessions and looks forward to the Asian Games.
我都处在于一个非常享受的状态啊！我其实都希望自己可以笑笑的去面对比赛跟比赛的过程。我是希望自己可以从早笑到晚，对。当然从早笑到晚，那一定是有好事发生嘛。我对自己的期许是这样子，对，就是希望自己可以开心的享受这个舞台带给我的一些乐趣。
Ahead of the Games, Taiwan is hoping to give its national judo team the edge, recruiting Ueno Yoshie, a former Japanese world champion and Olympic bronze medalist, to coach the athletes. She's been working with head coach Liu Wendeng.
我们有在做一个讨论，就是说，普遍的我们其他的选手对擒技，就是地板动作、压制啊、关节技，还有勒紧技的部分，就是应用的部分的话，并不是很实在。所以我们现在的练习的话，有特别在地板动作跟擒技的部分的话，做一些的连贯跟加强。
Now, with the Asian Games just around the corner, Taiwan's top judokas are making every training session count, hoping their hard work will pay off on the mat in Japan. Devon Tsai and Sainichi for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, take a look at hundreds of people pulling an entire castle by hand in Japan. They're taking Hirosaki Castle back to its original position after it was renovated. Now, that's one way to get a workout in. I'm Leslie Liao. Take care and see you next time.